Hey guys, Dave with Moniology on Markets here. This is the Precious Metals review for March 10th, 2019. I want to tell you why I'm excited. I'm excited because I feel like my system, my trading system, has worked just flawlessly here in the PM space. Now, it doesn't always work. There are times when any trading system has its challenges, and you got to recognize that, and you have to be able to adapt. But there are other times when a trading system works flawlessly, and I really believe that this is one of those times where I really feel like I've got a pulse on the PM space right now. Multiple time frames have been analyzing from an hourly, daily, weekly, and monthly, and I feel like we are now in a position where the stars have indeed aligned, and you're going to see a multi-year run in the PM space. So you got to know which time frame you're trading. If you're a day trader and you want to scalp a 10% move up or down, kudos to you. But if you are someone who wants to be part of 100%, 200%, 1000% moves to the upside, then you need to have the long picture in mind, and you need to be able to withstand the volatility, because frankly, volatility is the price you pay for long-term returns. So without further ado, I want to take a look at the precious metals space from a broader weekly standpoint. And for the individual names, I'll be posting throughout the week, and perhaps a video will be forthcoming. But in the meantime, let's take a look at what's going on in the PM space. So starting with the gold futures contract from a weekly standpoint, and we are now in a bullish uptrend after this beautiful hammer pattern here. It took us above basically above that 1300 area. We closed just below it, but notice that we found support on that golden cross where the 50-week across the 200-week moving average. That's very, very important. We had this bearish wedge. We broke down and we found support, and now we've expanded this range, and I expect to see basically between 1350 and 1380 on this next leg higher before further consolidation. But very positive development in gold. And I wasn't so disappointed with this move, because really the miners were not crushed. There are a lot of miners that were basically flat during this time. That's not what you typically see in a gold correction or a renewed downtrend. Here's palladium. A lot of folks are saying palladium's run is over. I don't see it right now. I mean, it's extremely overbought, but that's when some of the biggest moves happen. Sure, we can head lower to retest the bottom part of this boundary, but until 1400 is broken to the downside, I think that higher prices will be seen in palladium. Here's platinum. Platinum's been the hardest metal by far to understand. I'll say this. Platinum and palladium, they're both primarily used in catalytic converters for cars, and they're interchangeable. And palladium was the far less expensive metal for many years, and now it's more expensive than platinum. So at some point, fundamentally, platinum's going to be they're going to start using platinum in these catalytic converters, and platinum's going to have a run possibly bigger than palladium is because of its jewelry use. So in any event, until it breaks 900, there's really no story here in the metal. We had a positive divergence here in terms of momentum versus price, and now we've pulled back. We've closed the week below the 50. I don't like when that happens, but we surely can recapture that to the upside. And once 900 breaks, that's your cue to go long this particular metal and underlying stocks. Silver here. So you see this downtrend and momentum here has been broken to the upside in around December of last year, and now we've been consolidating here. We haven't been able to break above that 61 level of RSI, but we found support at that 50 level, which is very, very important. If we broke below that, this level here would have been a very nice back test. We still haven't broken out in terms of price, but we have built a stronger foundation here after this hammer pattern, and I think we're going to be breaking 16 very, very soon. Silver miners have been some of the best performing in the overall PM space. That's what you see in a bull market, not in a bear market. So it's just part of the story, and silver is going to be very strong sooner rather than later. Here's the US dollar. Now, what's unique about the dollar is most folks are thinking that if the dollar goes up, then PMs have to go down. It's not necessarily the case. That hasn't always been the case in history, and very often in history they've gone up together. They've been highly correlated. So we'll see. I mean, the dollar on multiple time frames looks. This looks to me like an inverse head and shoulders. but that doesn't mean it can't go higher to 100. And it's got negative divergence, but it did close the week slightly above that 61 level. It looks like it wants to break above that 98 level, and the PPO is curling above towards that 0 area. So if we don't roll over here, I mean, we can make a move towards 100, and we can still see gold perform well. So that doesn't mean that gold will fall if the dollar rallies. Here's a couple of index charts. They're probably showing the same thing, but it's good to show different perspectives. Here's the gold and silver index as represented by AXU. You see that we broke out of this range here, and now we're kind of in a different range. And I think that the most important key here, we need to break above that 200-week moving average. But notice this momentum. It's building a stair-step pattern higher. We broke out of this downtrend since 2016. We've back tested it successfully, and now it looks like we're ready to move higher. I like what I'm seeing. Here's the GDXJ, the junior miners. Here's this uptrend, similar uptrend in momentum. We're consolidating now above the 50 RSI. That's very, very important. We found support here above this trend line, and it looks like we're getting set to break out above that 35 zone, which coincides with the 200-week moving average. My price target, at least in the next 3 to 6 months, is that 44 to 45 zone. I think we'll see it sooner rather than later. HUI, another index here, just a beautiful pattern here. Upper momentum, uptrend in momentum, and I just think we're gonna see probably 220 hit at some point this year, and possibly as high as 260 in HUI. Here's the GDX. Here's another approach. You've got the middle Bollinger Band. You've got the 50-week moving average. We're right below, consolidating right below the 200-week moving average. As soon as 23 breaks, I think we're headed to 25 and 27, and I think at some point this year we probably will test that 31 area. Here's the GDM. I'm going to show you two charts. This is the GDM from a weekly perspective. The next will be from a monthly. But again, breakout from the downtrend, consolidation right below the 200 moving average, and then boom, we're going to take off sooner rather than later. All right, so here's the monthly perspective of GDM. Look at this inverse head and shoulders pattern above the negative trend line break. And now we're just consolidating here. And I think once we break here, we're going to have a clear shot towards that 900, 950. That's a pretty powerful move. PPO on a monthly basis has closed above 0. Notice the last time this happened. Was basically in 2016, and notice the move. We went from basically 350 all the way to 950. That's a powerful move. Well, we're about to do the same thing here, and I think the move can go even higher. You know, the first Fibonacci is at around 923. We can move as high as 1101, possibly 1279 in a prolonged bull market. So a lot of upside here on gold miners. Here's the silver juniors as represented by SILJ. They're starting to break out of this downtrend. Look at the back test at the 50. I really, really like the silver juniors right now. So there's a lot of great names. Please do your due diligence, and I'm sure you'll find many. Even the poor names will do well. You know, we're talking 200-300% moves. And can you imagine if you've done the due diligence and you found yourself a high-quality company? We can see 1,000% gains. Here's a couple ratios. Here's the silver juniors versus the metal. You want to see these outperform the metal, and we're starting to do so. Finally broke out of this downtrend since 2016, and price will soon follow. Here's platinum. We've kind of already looked at that. We had a beautiful breakout, and we kind of went back. But now we're retesting it from the downside, and so this could be a great risk-reward opportunity here should this hold. I wouldn't be touching this, frankly, until it breaks back above 80, just as a good risk-reward. Another ratio, gold versus silver. You want to see silver outperform gold in a genuine bull market. And notice this. You're getting consecutive lower highs in momentum, which means silver starting to build momentum against gold, and eventually this head and shoulders will crack and it's going to break lower. That doesn't mean gold's going to perform poorly, simply means silver is going to perform much better. Here's GDX versus the metal. Notice this breakout here. There's a lot of upside, a lot of blue sky ahead. You've got GLD versus the dollar. There's not much to see here. It's kind of like a cup and handle here, building up, and I think that gold is going to outperform the dollar substantially over the next couple of years. Here are the juniors against the metal, and notice they're breaking out very nicely, and momentum is starting to bounce back off of the 50, and looks like it wants to make a really renewed push higher. Here are the juniors against the majors. There's not really much to see here, but you do want to see the juniors start outperforming the majors. They're still, frankly, on the bottom side of this breakdown point, so we've got some work to do for the junior miners. But that's something that you see, because a lot of times these junior miners, they're just simply not profitable until you get to 13, 14, 1500, whereas the majors are already profitable. So the majors recover first, and then the juniors really follow suit. Here are the silver juniors versus the majors, but notice here, this is a major breakout right here. That's very powerful, and that's why you're seeing some of the tremendous moves in some of these in silver miners. Here's platinum versus gold. Every time it hits this trend line, it breaks down, but at some point it's going to break higher, and baby, when it does, this is when you want to go long, and you want to go long hard. Silver trust, so silver versus gold. Here's just another view, kind of the inverse of the chart we saw. There's a lot of consolidation going on here, but notice there's up just higher lows in momentum, and eventually it breaks 50, and that's when the big move takes place. Here's just another view of the same thing. This breakdown has kind of been broken out of. Now we've got this other wedge. Keep an eye on how it works, and when it breaks above that 50-week moving average in the ratio. Finally, I've got one chart here, the Australian dollar. And the Australian dollar typically does well when metals rally. It's been consolidating here, and it's been, even though it's building, it's got basically triple bottom. Look at the momentum that's being built here. I think at some point it's going to break higher, and that's going to signal or coincide with a major bull run in the PM space. Bottom line, guys, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I notice a lot of skepticism still in amongst just the retail investors. I notice institutions are still very, very low, and their level of investment towards precious metals is at all-time lows right now. So the upside is tremendous, and you got to be patient, and that's really the key. And I just want to remind you guys, I am starting a premium service that's going to post a lot of these videos with premium, with more due diligence, with more individual research on companies, and that's going to be for the premium subscribers. And I'm only opening this up for 100 slots. Now we've got 27 already filled, and so if you want to be one of those slots, please email me at dave@moniology.com. Let me know you're interested. There's no obligation, and in July, once there's more information, I'll let you guys know, and we'll go from there. So I appreciate your support. Please follow me on StockTwits, Twitter, and on YouTube, and I wish you guys a great week. Take care.